back with WHHI-TV, and now joining me is Greenway, who is the Beaufort County Administrator. Very nice to meet you. I had a chance to meet lots of people, but I have yet to meet you, so I am delighted to have a chance to have a conversation with you. What we're going to talk about is something that comes up starting June, goes right through November, and it's hurricane season. And we have a lot to talk about because it's something that's important to us, right?
It's very important. It's one of the things that we dedicate a lot of resources to and a lot of time to, and a lot of personnel. Resources are dedicated to both being prepared for a storm during a storm event and then, of course, the recovery after the storm. So there's basically three phases to our hurricane response. So
really?
Yes.
Okay, so let's break it down. June 1 is coming. That's when we were first recognized, and everybody's looking for the storms and things like that. So what is our first stage?
First stage would be being prepared, and that's very key. There's a lot of resources that we put in both at the local, state, and the federal level for hurricane preparedness. A lot of information on the Beaufort County Sheriff's website through the Storm Center link there about how to be prepared for a hurricane, what people that live here, what visitors should do, what people should do with animals and things like that to get prepared for a hurricane. So there's a lot of resources, written guides, pamphlets and things like that on the Beaufort County Emergency Management website through the Storm Center link that would provide resources for people to be prepared and know what they need to have to get prepared for a storm.
It's interesting, and I have seen, I think the initiative in the last 2 years, I've seen pamphlets, I've seen, newspaper articles, really written down details, and obviously websites are always a good resource to go to. So obviously the first thing is the outreach for everybody to be prepared.
That's correct.
So what would be stage 2?
Stage 2 would be if we get notification that a storm is coming, then we start getting into the actual response phase during the actual storm event, which is the Emergency Operations Center that is managed and operated by the Sheriff's Office through the Emergency Management Division, could activate the Emergency Operations Center. That means a lot of people from a local level, state and federal level will start communicating on what the actual response during the storm event would be for Beaufort County, which, as you can imagine, it's very key that we have the right personnel in the right spots, emergency management folks on site, EMS, our emergency, our ambulances, things like that, our police,
Sure.
Our public works department to clear roads and things like that during a storm event so that emergency personnel can travel the roads in case there's an event that we need to get to people. And then once the storm is over, then we move into that third phase.
And that is?
Recovery.
Recovery. I thought you were going to say evacuation, but it's recovery.
Right.
Okay.
Recovery is a key component as well because that's after the storm. That's where the Emergency Management Office of the Sheriff's Department turns it back over to the county administration, and our recovery team goes into action in providing the response for the recovery efforts to make sure people can come back into the county if we've had an evacuation, that they have the resources available to them while we're waiting on power to be restored and things like that. We're doing the storm assessments for FEMA. We're helping people access the FEMA resources that would be available from a financial standpoint and things like that through the recovery.
I'm just sitting here and I had the chance to really meet a lot of people from the Beaufort County in all kinds of positions and factions, and the alliance that I see from everybody is everybody's trying to protect the residents the best possible, and this is exactly what I just sort of had this thought in my mind where the initiative and having those 3 stages and learning from the past and being future forward thinking, I think it's just wonderful, and you think about all these new people, the northerners that come down here for the first time, right? And the question is flood insurance. But do we need flood insurance? Because is our house enough out of the plane? The mortgage people say no, but the residents say yes, take the flood insurance. So these are the little nuances that I don't know as a new person coming into the area can find that information out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And of course, I'm an advocate that regardless of where your home is located, We all live in a floodplain. Every home that's built has the potential to flood in certain events. So I would always advocate for someone to buy the flood insurance to protect their home and their property and their valuables in the case of a major storm event. The key for us, for folks that are coming in to the county, is knowing how they can best assist the county officials to help them during a storm event. And the best thing that they can do for us is that if there's an evacuation order issued by the state, the governor, if he declares a state of emergency and issues an evacuation order, that they obey that evacuation order, because there's so many things going on in a storm event. We're trying to coordinate so many resources. We may not have personnel available to actually get out to people that tried to stay during a storm and are in trouble.
Well, that is really interesting, Eric. Well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll pick up that conversation in a minute, okay? And we'll be right back with more 843 TV. We're at Hilton Head Island Airport.